Kevin Stefanski full of shit. That's the type of coach that you talk about instilling confidence into your players. How you think that makes Shedeur feel? I don't know who the backup is? Yeah. You got to be kidding me. You really gonna bring up Bailey Zappi from the practice squad and make him the backup over me and I've been on the active roster? Either Kevin Stefanski thinks Shedeur Sanders is Magic City parking lot, straight ass, or he just don't like him. This is the perfect example of take all your confidence away from a player. He must got some pictures or some evidence on Jimmy Haslam. Like, I've never seen anything like this.
Browns legend TJ Houshmandzadeh just exploded on Kevin Stefanski. And honestly, who can blame him? The coach reportedly made some slick remarks about Shedeur Sanders, and now the internet's lit up like Cleveland in another January heartbreak.
He has no use for Shedeur. It's going to take the owner stepping in and saying no to Stefanski, but I'm going to tell you what tears me up about this. They have the fourth easiest schedule remaining. They have what Pro Football Focus ranks the #1 defense in pro football. This draft class is starting to percolate. Mason Graham with the 5th overall pick, he can play. He's a stud. And then Carson Schwessinger out at UCLA.
Yeah, linebacker. Good player.
He just might be the defensive rookie of the year.
Whoa.
And Quinshon Judkins, I'm looking at what he's done in his 3 games.
Yeah.
94 yards, 82 yards, 110 yards. He can tote the...
Jay didn't just clap back. He went off like a ticking time bomb. So what exactly did Stefanski say that sent one of the calmest vets in football into full-blown rage mode? And why is Shedeur suddenly the most polarizing man in all of Cleveland?
You have to think long and hard about the backup quarterback position.
Bro, regardless of how you feel about Shedeur Sanders, at this point, you gotta feel bad for Shedeur Sanders. In what world can you make such a simple question so complicated? Shedeur Sanders should be the backup, period. Bailey Zappi, who Kevin Stefanski is currently trying to figure out if he's gonna be the #2, you've seen him play in Cleveland before. He started week 18 last year against the Baltimore Ravens. The Browns lost 35-10. Bailey Zappi had a touchdown and 2 picks. And y'all didn't choose to sign him. So the Chiefs...
Jay Houshmandzadeh has officially joined the Cleveland Chaos Club. And he's coming straight for Kevin Stefanski's neck. This wasn't just a critique. It was a verbal beatdown with playoff-level energy. The man didn't hold back for a second. He lit up Stefanski with a roast so wild, it could power the whole city for a week. According to Jay, Stefanski's treatment of Shedeur Sanders has gone way past bad coaching. It's looking personal now. What started as player development is starting to smell like straight-up disrespect.
And now it's rookie time. Is it Gabriel? Is it Shedeur? What if Miles knew the plan all along was to set up Shedeur Sanders to come in and be the guy? Is it time? Is it the perfect timing? I got my watch on to see 12 get out there. You know what? The more I look into this, the more I evaluate Gabriel's film and the more I see graphics and stats on Shedeur Sanders, I really do think he gives Cleveland the best chance going forward. Now, there's so much wrong with the Browns' offensive line, play calling, you name it, there's issues. So it's not a great situation to throw a rookie in.
And honestly, watching this unfold feels like witnessing a slow-motion car wreck with Stefanski behind the wheel, insisting every dent and skid mark is just part of his master plan. Because, of course, in Cleveland, it always plays out the same way. A young quarterback overflowing with talent, a coach overflowing with excuses, and a fan base drowning in Advil. Stefanski's latest masterpiece, keeping Shedeur Sanders miles away from the huddle, wrapped in bubble wrap, stamped "Do Not Develop." The official excuse is that he's protecting the kid's confidence. But come on, we've heard that line before. The unofficial reason? Well, that's where things start getting messy.
Bro, listen, players in the locker room that like Shedeur off of that comment, they don't mess with Kevin Stefanski. They don't fuck, because you are really trying to lower this man's confidence. Shedeur, I don't know him. He comes off as uber confident.
Yep.
These type of statements makes you think, damn, I'm not that good?
Mm-hmm.
Like, he full of shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm done with him, bro. Like, I want to see him just lose every game now. Like, coaches like him shouldn't be head coaches. Oof, they should not be head coaches.
Apparently, there's this deep, mysterious dislike for anything that even resembles real talent. And TJ Houshmandzadeh's not buying a word of it. He's looking at Stefanski's logic like a man trying to figure out if the coach has ever actually watched a football game before. It's not the first time a coach has benched a rising star, but the awkwardness of Stefanski pretending this is all about player growth is almost cinematic. Cleveland's quarterback situation doesn't look like strategy. It looks like a long-running social experiment in frustration. And guess what? It's working perfectly. The team's crumbling. Fans are spinning in confusion, and Stefanski keeps claiming it's all part of the grand plan. Maybe his plan is to frustrate Shedeur so much he turns into the next Tom Brady out of pure spite.
Now, we all know that Dillon Gabriel is Kevin Stefanski's guy. A lot of people are out there saying that Kevin Stefanski doesn't like Shedeur Sanders. He could care less about Shedeur Sanders. And majority of the things that Kevin Stefanski is saying makes you believe that that is the case. And Joe Flacco was traded. And Kevin Stefanski did not know that Joe Flacco was being traded. That was a Jimmy Haslam and Andrew Berry call. So Jimmy Haslam and Andrew Berry are the ones that traded Joe Flacco.
Or maybe, just maybe, this is what happens when a coach mistakes stubbornness for genius. When Stefanski tried explaining that he didn't want to hurt any prospects by putting them in the huddle, the reaction from the football world was pure disbelief. Protecting them from what? Exactly. Touchdowns? Because right now, the only thing Shedeur's been protected from is opportunity. The Browns are sinking faster than a fishing boat in Lake Erie, and the man steering the ship seems convinced the solution is fewer playmakers. Only this time, instead of a crown, Stefanski's clutching a laminated play sheet nobody believes in anymore. The fans aren't buying it, the analysts aren't buying it. And deep down, you can tell Stefanski doesn't even buy it himself. Houshmandzadeh just cashed in every chip on the table. And he's saying what everyone else has been too scared to admit.
What do you think about Shedeur's situation right now in Cleveland and how he went mute?
It's the biggest travesty in the history of the National Football League. And if he ever gets his chance, God willing, he will seize it and make them all look like fools.
Do you think he's going to play this year?
You go with Dillon Gabriel for 5 games or 6 games, and surely you're going to lose almost all of them, if not all of them. Give him the bottom of the schedule because he got his chance flukishly and he balled out.
Yeah.
You can say, oh, it's just the preseason, but you could see him on stage. If you give him a shot, he's going to seize his...
Stefanski might not want Shedeur Sanders to succeed. Let that sink in. A head coach allegedly more focused on protecting his ego than chasing wins. That's the kind of toxic pride that turns bright teams into future Netflix documentaries. When preseason wrapped, Shedeur did everything right. Minimal mistakes, sharp reads, clean footwork. But Stefanski's cold post-game vibe said everything. No praise, no spark, no recognition. That's when TJ came charging in, swinging common sense like a sledgehammer. He didn't just say Stefanski was wrong. He hinted the man's running on pure personal bias. Either Shedeur Sanders suddenly forgot how to throw a football overnight, or Stefanski's straight up allergic to seeing him shine.
Signed him, and then the Chiefs cut him August 28th, and then y'all re-signed him. But you already knew what you felt about Bailey Zappi, because at the end of the season last year, you let him go. So clearly you didn't want him that bad. And now that it's time for Shedeur to get a turn, you're like, this Bailey Zappi dude, we got to see what we feel about him. You saw him. He was bad. Regardless of how you feel about Shedeur, at this point, you have to feel bad for Shedeur, because what the heck is this?
It's disrespect. It's disrespect, in my opinion. You played this game. You went out, said that he was QB3 after you benched Joe Flacco.
There's no middle ground here. You can't talk about developing a player you won't even let play. That's like saying you're training for a marathon while refusing to run. And the pettiness, it's next level. Jay pointed out Stefanski won't even say Shedeur's name during press conferences anymore. Not once. It's almost hilarious, like he thinks speaking Shedeur Sanders out loud will summon some football spirit that haunts his clipboard. Every time a reporter brings up the kid, Stefanski gets that frozen stare, like someone just asked if he's been audited. The silence, it screams louder than any excuse he's given. Even Skip Bayless, professional instigator and part-time chaos expert, caught this weird energy and called it out. He noticed the pattern, the cold tone, the vague replies, the flat-out refusal to even acknowledge Shedeur's existence. This isn't passive coaching anymore. It's ghosting on a professional level. Imagine being a quarterback so ignored by your own coach that your name sounds banned in your own facility. And through it all, Shedeur's been calm, focused, locked in. No whining, no finger-pointing, no media pity tour. But TJ sees right through that silence. He knows what it means. When a coach starts playing the long-term development card, it usually means one thing. He's fresh out of short-term answers. Stefanski's entire act feels like a performance for the cameras, like he's crafting some grand plan that'll make sense eventually.
I told y'all it's gonna have to be over Stefanski's dead body before you put Shedeur in willingly. He's not going. Y'all, you think a head coach, a motherfucker who didn't acknowledge somebody's presence all year long, somebody who don't even want to say somebody's name, somebody who can't even give details about their progress as a player, as a rookie in the NFL, is gonna willingly put a motherfucker in over their guy? No, no, no. Y'all, Dan Lanning and Kevin Stefanski is like this. Kevin Stefanski and Dillon Gabriel is like this.
But the fans aren't buying it. They're staring at the scoreboard, waiting for this so-called master plan to finally show results. Cleveland's offense has gone flatter than a week-old soda, and the one guy who could actually fix it. He's still holding a clipboard, watching the chaos unfold like he's in the wrong movie. But let's rewind for a second, because this pattern isn't new. From the very start of preseason, Shedeur came out sharp, calm under pressure, mistake-free, efficient like a vet. You'd think that kind of performance would earn him a little respect. Maybe even a drive or two with the starters. But Stefanski's response? A shrug and a mumble about evaluating all quarterbacks. Translation. I already picked my guy before kickoff, and it's not you. You almost have to admire the man's loyalty to mediocrity.
And it's not just about Shedeur, though, Acho. It's not just about Shedeur. You don't treat people like they can't. If they can't play, get them off the team.
Yeah.
Get them off the team.
Yeah.
You stringing somebody along. All right, I'm the backup. Yeah. Nah, you might not even be the backup.
Yeah. Yeah, T cooking. Because I got so much I want to say right now. Let me start here. If Shedeur is not number 2, go ahead and march into Stefanski's office, march into Barry's office, march into Haslam's office and say, go ahead and release me. Because you might as well release me, because Shedeur Sanders will never play in Cleveland if they put Bailey Zappi ahead of Shedeur Sanders.
Yeah.
At the point in which you are putting a play...
Cleveland's been desperate for a spark under center, yet Stefanski's acting like Shedeur's just another name buried on the depth chart. And in Cleveland, mistake-free football is practically a miracle. But instead of embracing it, Stefanski doubled down on his mystery strategy. Like a magician guarding a trick that's really just bad coaching. Dressed up as genius, Jay wasn't about to let that slide. Meanwhile, the Browns sit at 3-7, and the fan base is losing faith faster than a lead in the fourth quarter. There's something almost Shakespearean about this. The proud coach, haunted by his own ego, clinging to control. As his team slowly falls apart, every post-game presser sounds like recycled corporate talk about learning moments. Oh, you can almost hear the sound of a man burying a storyline he doesn't want to exist. TJ caught that energy instantly. And he called it out. Because if a player outperforms expectations and your first reaction is discomfort, that's not development. That's fear disguised as leadership. That's not coaching. That's straight up sabotage. And the evidence keeps piling up. Even Myles Garrett, the Browns' defensive star and usually the most composed guy in the room, couldn't hold it in anymore. Week after week, he's been forced to watch the same nightmare unfold, and this time, he finally snapped. He didn't drop names, but everyone knew exactly who he meant when he called out the offensive confusion. It was like a football intervention broadcast in real time. The locker room isn't rebelling. It's politely screaming for change. And it's not just Garrett. Insiders say players are tired of the obvious favoritism. Stefanski's ride-or-die loyalty to Dillon Gabriel, even after weak performances, has everyone scratching their heads. That kind of blind loyalty only makes sense if Stefanski's secretly auditioning for a job where results don't matter. Meanwhile, the Browns' record keeps cratering like a bad investment. This isn't about playbooks or schemes anymore.
No, I'm not objective about this, but this was hitting bottom yesterday. This is all-time shameful on the part of Kevin Stefanski. This was Kevin Stefanski pretty much declaring public war on Shedeur, or at least Cold War on Shedeur, because he won't even speak Shedeur's name in these interview sessions. It's like Parcells when T.O. was there. He wouldn't even call his name. He just called him the player. Remember that? And this is degenerated into every time he's asked about Shedeur, he just plays dodgeball.
It's about pride, plain and simple. A coach too stubborn to admit he misread the moment. And the irony, it's priceless. Stefanski built his whole rep on being calm, calculated and analytical. But nothing screams panic mode like pretending your most talented young quarterback doesn't exist. He's acting like Shedeur Sanders is some unsolved math equation. If he ignores it long enough, maybe it'll vanish. The craziest part? The Browns' front office looks just as lost as the fans. Nobody seems to know what game Stefanski's even playing anymore. It's getting ugly, fast. You can feel the tension every single time Stefanski talks. That fake calmness practically screams desperation. The man looks like someone who's memorized the HR handbook on how to sound confident while reapplying for your own job. Meanwhile, TJ keeps hammering him, reminding everyone this is exactly how a coach loses a locker room. From the inside out. And make no mistake, that locker room is cracking when defensive stars start questioning offensive play calls and veterans begin airing their frustrations. It's no longer about football. It's about leadership, or what's left of it. Stefanski's message has gone stale, and the team knows it. You can almost picture the sideline whispers. Does he even like our quarterback? What's wild is how predictable it's all become. Every season in Cleveland feels like déjà vu. Hope, hype, heartbreak, repeat. Then comes the off-season slogan, "Next year will be different." But in reality, the Browns don't rebuild. They just recycle disappointment with new uniforms. TJ might not have meant to start a full-blown movement, but that's exactly what's happening. Fans are backing him, players are quietly nodding in agreement, and even analysts are starting to say what's been obvious all along.
Joe, what are we doing? It's already been reported that Bailey Zappi was taking a lot of the practice squad snaps.
Kevin Stefanski is really enjoying this moment. Kevin Stefanski is making the Browns organization basically Jerry Springer. He's making a mockery of the situation and enjoying it. Just announce the goddamn quarterback, who quarterback number 2. Why are we playing these goddamn mind games?
The report said Bailey Zappi was getting the practice squad. They signed him off somebody else's team and put him on their practice squad. He comes in, are taking reps that Shedeur should be getting. So with that being said, I understood the assignment. I'm not so sure Cleveland know what they're doing. Maybe
Stefanski's act is wearing thin. That whole trust the process speech only works when the process produces something other than weekly migraines and Sunday night excuses. Even Stefanski's most loyal defenders are starting to see it. The man might have coached himself straight into a corner. There's only so many excuses you can recycle before people start asking the hard questions. And when those questions involve Shedeur Sanders, a walking headline and fan magnet, You can't just hide behind cliches forever. You'd think after all his years in the league, Stefanski would have learned how this story ends. Once the narrative flips from building the future to blocking the future, your clock starts ticking fast. And that's exactly where he's headed. The vibe around Cleveland isn't that Stefanski's developing young talent anymore. It's that he's choking it out, one stubborn decision at a time. The tension's so thick you could slice it with a penalty flag. Every week, Shedeur stays benched. Every vague post-game comment. Every tired will evaluate the tape. Response. It all pours more gas on the fire. And TJ? He's right there tossing in the matches. Because he's saying what fans have been screaming into their beer mugs for months. You can't win a locker room when your defense is side-eyeing your play calls. Myles Garrett summed it up best. The man's exhausted from watching the same mistakes replay like a bad movie. Every Sunday's become emotional cardio. The defense holds strong, while the offense flatlines, and Stefanski's out here promising improvement that never shows up. It's football déjà vu, the painful kind, where everyone already knows how it ends. At this point, even Jimmy Haslam's patience has to be hanging by a thread. Jimmy Haslam's seen this movie too many times. The man's fired more coaches than some franchises have ever hired. His fingers probably twitching over that red button again. And if history's any clue, Stefanski's name could be next in line for the Cleveland Coaching Hall of Casualties. The irony? Stefanski's downfall might come from the very thing he's been trying to dodge.
Man, I'm here to tell you, man, Kevin Stefanski, the head coach of the Cleveland Browns, he is diabolical. Now, we know that Joe Flacco was traded yesterday to the Cincinnati Bengals. And what does that mean? What does that do for Shedeur Sanders? Well, we all know Shedeur Sanders was the emergency quarterback. He was the QB3. And Dillon Gabriel was the QB2. They benched Joe Flacco. They gave the keys to Dillon Gabriel, which promoted Dillon Gabriel to QB1, started against the Minnesota Vikings.
Shedeur Sanders' success. Because if Shedeur ever steps in and plays even half as well as fans expect, the whole story flips overnight. And Cleveland fans, bless their battle-tested hearts, can spot a stalling coach from a mile away. They've lived this cycle too many times. They know when patience becomes denial, and when trusting the process turns into wasting a season. Right now, that's exactly what it feels like. The Browns are way too talented to keep tripping over the same mistakes. And that inconsistency? It starts at the top. Leadership isn't about protecting your pride. It's about recognizing potential, even when it threatens your comfort zone. Stefanski's biggest blind spot is the one sitting right on his bench, Shedeur Sanders. This whole situation's turned into a ticking time bomb. Every loss cranks the pressure higher. Every locker room whisper tightens the noose. And every time TJ speaks, the heat doubles. And at this point, it's not even controversial. It's common sense. Play the kid. Give Shedeur his shot. What's the worst that could happen? Cleveland actually scoring some points for once. Maybe that's the real tragedy of Cleveland football. The bar's been set so low that progress itself feels dangerous. A flash of raw talent threatens the fragile balance of mediocrity, and Stefanski's guarding it like it's some kind of family heirloom. The wild part, if he had just embraced Shedeur from the start, he'd probably look like a genius right now. A visionary who saw the future coming. Instead, he looks like a man fighting gravity, insisting the sky's not falling while the ground rushes up fast. Cleveland's always been a city of near misses and almosts, but this one hits different. This one's personal. TJ feels it, the players feel it. The fans can smell it in the air. That bitter mix of pride, tension, and regret. Stefanski's time is running out. Whether he's fired next week or limps to the season's end, the damage is already done. The locker room's fractured, the trust is gone, and the coach's credibility is hanging on by a thread. And through it all, Shedeur Sanders sits quietly, watching, learning, and taking notes on exactly how not to handle power when his moment finally comes. When the dust settles, history might not remember this as Stefanski's downfall, but as the moment TJ Houshmandzadeh said out loud what everyone else was too scared to admit. Maybe, just maybe, the real problem in Cleveland isn't the quarterback. It's the man too proud to play him. And honestly, if that's not the most Cleveland thing ever, then what is?